Welcome back to the Harpreet Singh Show and to Tania's Truth Talk. I'm going to take you on a journey like no other. I am a former madam that ran 4 Canadian brothels employing hundreds of women. And on my journey of being a former madam, I have encountered so many interesting people with various lifestyles that are just so amazing. And I'm going to take you on a journey in this segment with a good friend of mine, and her name is Maya. Maya, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Maya, you know, I know you through church, and you're a friend of mine, and I love you so dearly and have so much respect for you. And I know that you have a life that was quite sad.
Yeah.
And you've been through a lot.
Yeah.
But it has a happy ending.
Yes, it does.
Can you take me a little bit on that journey of yours of growing up and tell me a little bit about what it was like?
Yeah, okay. Growing up, like when I was younger, I had kind of a broken home. My stepdad was there, but my mom, me and her really didn't have a good relationship growing up. So I gravitated more towards my grandmother, my father's mom.
Okay.
And later on in life, I ended up moving in with her, and she died in a car accident. A drunk driver hit her head on the highway. And after that, I felt like I didn't have anything to live for, kind of thing. So
she was your rock.
Yeah,
in a sense.
my everything pretty much. So after she died, I just felt like I didn't have anything to live for, and I went to drinking. I remember the first time I got drunk was around her funeral time, and it felt good. It was like an escape. Like it was a high because I was just always down, kind of thing. And I had a friend there, and he was always smoking marijuana or whatever, so I kind of got into that, and that also was a high that was kind of taking my mind off of losing my grandmother.
Self-medicating the pain, and I see that so many people do that nowadays who've gone through tough times. I've done it myself from my past. I was snorting coke and things like that too to self-medicate my pain, so I can completely relate to where you're coming from.
Yeah.
So what happened?
So after that, I kind of got addicted to the weed, like just partying all the time. It went from like every once in a while to just weekends, and I would throw parties. Like my dad was never home because he lived with my grandmother as well, so I kind of ran the house, and I had parties like every weekend, and like just drinking and smoking all the time. And it went from the weekends to all the time. Every day I would smoke all the time, like.
So in a sense, were you getting your identity or notoriety from all these people coming over and partying at your house, and the respect? And
yeah, I would say, And so I don't know, it was just fun all the time. It took my mind off of everything, and I just was on a high with just smoking, drinking, and just partying all the time. And then, but it was doing something on the slide that I didn't even realize that I needed to smoke now just to feel normal, you know? And it was like I was smoking like 10 to 13 blunts a day. That was just what I did. I would wake up in the morning.
Blunts would be?
Cigars, and you open them and you put weed inside, and they're like big and thick.
So they're cigar-sized joints of marijuana. Those are called a blunt.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would smoke that. Like I would match people. Like I have a blunt, you have a blunt. Let's get together and smoke. Like, and that's what I would do on a daily basis, kind of thing. And it just got out of hand. And so I knew I needed to smoke. It became an addiction to where I would choose smoking over eating sometimes.
Okay.
Like, or I would have $10 that would go towards a sack, and I would scrounge up money to get like a burrito or something later on.
A sack is you're talking street lingo here. What is a sack? Educate the public.
It's like a dime bag of marijuana.
A dime bag. What's a dime bag?
Okay, it's like $10.
I know what a dime bag is.
Okay, $10 of a purchase of weed. Maybe you can get like a gram of marijuana or something off of that. So, eventually, I end up moving out here just because my mom's mom lives out here, and she knew.
From the States? You moved out here from the States?
Yes, from the States. Yes. Sorry. And they knew that I wasn't really doing anything after my grandmother died. I was living out of a suitcase since she died 2 weeks before my 18th birthday, and I've been living out of a suitcase since then. And so yeah, so she had me move out here, but I had this no one understands me mentality kind of thing. Like, because growing up, my mom wasn't around, my dad wasn't really around.
Right.
All I had was my grandmother. Now she wasn't around, so it was just like no one gets me, you know?
Right.
And then I was homosexual, and when I moved out here, my grandmother, I guess she kind of noticed it and stuff, and so she's trying to transform me, and I just had a problem with people trying to change me.
So you were out as a
Yeah,
lesbian.
yes, I was.
Okay. Yes.
And I just didn't like that she wanted me to wear this and do this and everything, and I wasn't a rule follower. I was a rule breaker.
She wanted to dress feminine.
Yeah, and just like trying to change me for who I was, and then I felt like she wouldn't treat me well, like compared to the way my other grandmother treated me.
Right.
So we would clash, and I was staying with her, and we got into an argument, and I left. That's how I was. Like, I was living on a suitcase, and my suitcase stays packed. So it's like, you mess with me, I'm gone already. Like, so I left, and I met a girl on MySpace, and
which is a website. Yes.
Yes. Yep. And she lived in Prince Rupert, BC,
Okay.
and so you know, we got close, and she was just asking me like to come up there and everything. So I was just like, you know what, you're right, I'm coming. So that's what I did. I moved up there, and it's a really small town. I think I was the only person of color up there. Like, that's how small it is.
Yes,
It's like a high school of a town kind of thing. Like, you know, everyone knows each other. It's gossip, all that kind of stuff. So I went up there and everything, still with my addiction to weed. I would find ways to smoke, people to smoke with, because, you know, where I come from, we match blunts. Like, you got a blunt, I'll have a blunt, let's get together and smoke.
So it's not, would you like to come over to my house for a cup of coffee? When you go to visit somebody at their house, it'd be like, can I offer you a blunt?
Yeah, and it's like, oh, yeah, all right, I got one too. Let's smoke
that
together.
Was the social thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I met this girl, and she wanted me to meet her sister. This is just a friend.
Right.
And she wanted me to meet her sister, and she was like, we have some weed, we can smoke it together. And I'm like, all right. Like, coming from where I'm from, that's how we get friends.
That's how we do it.
Yeah. So I went there, and they had a bong and everything, and we're smoking out of it.
Okay, what is a bong?
It's a paraphernalia. It's a marijuana paraphernalia. It's like, it has water on the bottom, and it's like a tube, and then and then you smoke it.
Some people do it like they would call it a hookah. But
Yeah.
They do it with the tobacco.
Right. Yeah.
But you would do it with pot.
Yes.
Marijuana.
Yes.
Okay.
So we smoked out of that and everything, and I took like a large hit because that's what I'm used to.
Right.
And they were all shocked, like, whoa. And I was just thinking, like, okay, I don't understand. Like, what's the big
deal?
Yeah.
This is how we roll.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So after a while, I was just sitting there, and I just started getting this really weird feeling. Like, it was not like how I usually feel when I get high. So I was just like, I'm going to leave. Like, and so.
Something was kicking in that wasn't supposed to be in that weed.
Yeah. So I was about to leave to go meet up with my girlfriend at the time. And as I'm walking, I started getting like this really paranoid feeling. And I started thinking like, oh my gosh, I think they like did something with that marijuana. Like, I didn't know what it was. At that time, I wasn't sure, like, oh my gosh, what if it was like crack? What if it was crystal meth in there? Like, I didn't know anything that was going on with what I was smoking, but I knew it wasn't what I usually smoke. Yeah.
Okay.
So, the more I walked towards where she was, my girlfriend at the time, the more paranoid I started to get. And then I started to think like someone was trying to shoot me. Yeah. And I was thinking like, oh my gosh, someone's going to shoot me. And then I was thinking like, okay, no, I'm tripping. Maybe I'm tripping. So I put my headphones on, like, zone out.
And get rid of it.
Yeah, the more I walked closer, the worse it got. So it was a hotel that was close there. And I'm like, let me go in there and look for help. So I went to the hotel. I asked them for help. They, like, coming from the States at first, I talked really fast. Like, I kind of slowed down a little bit. But back then I talked really fast. And then being paranoid, I probably talked way faster than that. So they were just like, I don't understand what she's saying. Yeah. So I'm like, can you please call the ambulance? I need to go to the hospital. I'm like really frantic and everything. And they gave me $25 to call the ambulance myself on a payphone. And I'm like, I don't even know what's going on. Like, it's not working. No. So and then they was like, well, we can call you a cab. So I started thinking like, oh my gosh, you guys are in on it. You guys are just letting him get closer to me.
So you were thinking people are trying to shoot you, and everywhere you were going for help, you started to think that they were all conspiring against you to kill you.
Yeah.
So something was in this pot that was making you really paranoid.
Yeah. pretty much. So when I got in the cab driver, the same thing. He was like I felt that he was in on it too. I go to the store and I feel like everyone's against me there as well. And they end up calling the police.
Right.
And I thought, okay, that's cool. They call the police and, you know, he can get me to the hospital.
Right.
So when he comes, he's the same way the people at the hotel, everyone is in the town.
You know what, Maya, I got to cut you off right here because this is where it gets really interesting, and I really want to carry this into the next break because this is something that we can't take a little bit of time for.
All right.
Maya's story is going to get really good after this break, so we're just going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back.